Hello, my name is I'm the youth pastor here at River of Life Church. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of our series, Parenting This Generation. If you haven't seen part 1, I encourage you pause this video and go watch part 1 and then join us back for part 2 as we dive into parenting this generation and love roughly. In this video I want to discuss how we can love roughly. I'm currently parenting a teenage daughter, and if you know anything about teenagers, you know the environment that I can be in at any given moment, even as a youth pastor. One of my mentors told me this: the next time your kid messes up, try this. Grab them and hug them for 1 minute straight. I remember looking at my mentor like, yeah, right. There's no way that my teenage son or my teenage daughter will allow me to hug them for that long. They're going to try to push me away. They're going to move away. And he said, just try it. Try it, Lupe. Try it. So, like any parent, I just waited a little bit for the opportunity to arise itself. I remember calling my daughter up, and I remember telling her to come towards me and give me a hug. Now, she had just recently messed up, and so I'm sure she's like, something's going on here. But I grabbed her and I hugged her tightly. In the first 10 or 15 seconds, she started to giggle a little bit, like, what's going on? What's this about? And then 30 seconds, she started to keep quiet, and then she started to cry. About 45 seconds in, I kind of started to cry. At that moment, I realized, what's going on here? Something is shifting. Something is changing. My mentor told me this: 5 to 10 seconds, they start to feel awkward, like what's going on. And after 30 seconds, they feel like maybe you are the one that's really sad. In about 50 seconds, they feel you love them. And that's important, that our kids not just hear that we love them, but feel it. I remember in that minute of me hugging her, how much I loved her, how much I care about her. And I just was saying that to myself, and I started praying to myself, unbeknownst to her. But in a minute, she sat there in my arms. She didn't feel condemnation. She didn't feel guilt. She felt love. She felt love at its finest. And then I realized I need to love roughly, figuring out new ways and exciting ways that we can love our kids even through the bad. How can we love our kids on purpose? We think that it's all about words that we use or the rules that we set up, when initially and intentionally, it's actually our heart and it's our ears. It's hard to fight with someone who would hug you for a minute straight, or for minutes straight. I partner that with intentional eye contact. After that minute, I released my daughter, and I grabbed her by her shoulders, and I looked intentionally into her eyes, and I said, I love you. She said, I love you too. And I said, no. Mariah, I love you so much. And I took that time to be intentional. Awkwardly intentional. But then when we develop that relationship with our kids, that we're going to love them intentionally. We're going to do things that maybe seem out of the norm. That's not how my dad operated all the time. We never did 1 minute hugs. But when we develop a sense like that, our kids can know, wow, that is a parent that I can run to, not run from. So, I challenge you. When is the last time you hugged your kid intentionally for a minute? Or if you have ever. When's the last time you looked at them deep in their eye and said, I love you? It's easy to do when we're upset with them or when there's a point that we need to get across. It's easy when we make deep eye contact and meaningful eye contact. But when can we do it on a loving basis? Second, a very intentional way to love roughly is to date our kids. Now you may say, what does that mean? What are you talking about? I often go on daddy-daughter dates with my teenage daughter and now my little baby girl. I will go on daddy-daughter dates, and then I'll go on fun son dates with my son. My wife would do the same with both of the kids as well. But we do it intentionally by themselves. Why? So we can develop a connection with our kids. We want to develop a safe space for our kids to be able to run towards us. So we go on those dates to their favorite restaurants, to their favorite movie, to their favorite ice cream, and we just connect with them. We don't get all into their business. We just love on them intentionally. We joke with them. We laugh with them. And then over time, that creates a safe space where they can confide in us. Dating our kids on purpose, hugging our kids on purpose, and loving them roughly is the key to success to me, in my opinion, with raising this current generation of leaders. They're entrepreneurs, they're leaders, they're motivators. They want to be heard. So there's nothing better than a parent who's going to love their kid roughly. So I challenge you right now that when you get done watching this video, that you would schedule a date with your kid and that you would hug them for 1 minute. 1 long minute, 60 seconds. After that, pull away from them, look at them, and tell them how much you love them, how proud of them you are. Share that moment with them, even if it's awkward. Again, you're already the best parent in the world, but continue to grow in your walk. I'll leave you with this. Loving roughly is choosing to fight battles differently than we did before. I think of Jesus. Jesus came as a Savior who conquered death and freed all of us from the bondage of sin. So is the same with our kids. We need to come as someone who is willing to bring love, grace, and peace and safety to our kids. Not as a conqueror. Not as someone who's going to bring down fear because of punishment. So let's love roughly together as we parent this generation. Thanks again for watching, and see you on the next video.